Hello, and welcome back to the Learning Center. I'm your host, Angelina Becker. Today, we'll be learning about addiction, how it affects your brain, your family, and your life. Let's roll the clip, shall we?
It's been a really long week. Hello?
Hi, Becca. I'm Addiction.
What are you doing in my house? I don't have addiction. Can you please get out?
Somebody told me that you had a couple drinks last night, a couple drinks on Monday, a couple drinks the day before.
I don't know what you're talking about, but you can show yourself out. The door's right over there. It's right there.
Looks like the irritability is already kicking in.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, irritability is the first stage of addiction.
I don't have addiction, so it just must be from the long week I had. I mentioned that, and the door's right over there.
Oh, I think then it's right about time for the nausea to kick in.
It's just a coincidence. I'm just hungry.
Oh, and you'll be experiencing a loss of appetite.
Never mind.
It's okay though. Just have a drink. You'll feel a lot better.
If you say so.
Wakey, wakey. Time to go to
I
work.
have a headache. I don't wanna.
Oh, that's too bad. Nothing a few drinks won't solve though.
No.
Come on, come on.
What is this?
Here, have a few drinks. Oh, by the way, we're out of wine. You're gonna need to buy some
I
more.
don't have any money. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's unfortunate. It looks like you're gonna have some shakes, fatigue, more nausea.
Okay. I'll get some more.
This looks really pretty. You should sell it.
No. That's my grandmother's. I can't.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Looks like you're just gonna have some sweats. More headaches.
Okay. It's sold. It's done.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Look at the time. You're gonna be late for work.
All right.
Let's go. Surprise!
What are you doing here?
Addiction comes everywhere with you. Didn't you know that already?
Just go away. I want to go to work.
No. Let's have a little drink to ease off.
I guess so.
Oh my gosh. Look at the time. We're gonna be late. Floor it!
Although this video is filmed lighthearted, addiction is a serious problem that it can affect many people's lives, and here are some examples to show.
My name is Mark Vandergag. Everybody in my family is addicted to me because they love me so much. No. When I was a kid, you're talking about? So my father was an alcoholic.
Okay.
Yep. A major alcoholic.
What was your relation to the act?
I'm the eldest daughter out of 6 of her children.
I'm her second oldest son.
I'm the second oldest child.
I'm the youngest.
What was the addiction?
Pain medication, Xanax, sleeping pills.
How did having that addiction in your family affect your day-to-day life?
Oh my God, that's a big question. So it affected everything in my life. Everything. So my day started getting up in the morning, and my father was sober in the mornings. He'd usually be sitting at the kitchen table when we got up, reading the newspaper. And in the morning, he was a really sweet person, very loving guy. He would like to talk about what was going on in the news and the paper and joke around, things like that. And then right around noon, he would get dressed. My father was disabled, so he didn't really work. He had some part-time jobs here and there, but he would get dressed and go out, make some excuse for why he had to go out somewhere, and then he wouldn't come back home until the evening. And so when I would be at school on the way home from school, on the bus ride home, which was like a 12-mile drive straight down Route 9 in New Jersey, and I would check like 4 or 5 different bars where he would go drinking, and I always check to see if I could see his car. And as soon as I would see his car, I knew it was going to be a rough night. So then I would see his car parked there, and for the rest of the day, I know all my siblings did the same thing. We would all, didn't talk about it, but there was like a nervousness or a fear, not knowing what was going to come in that evening. So then when he would come home, he was usually angry, because he was like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. As soon as he would start drinking, he would just become angry and sort of violent, and he would look for something to pick on us about. So you had to sort of be on top of your game, make sure, you know, everything was okay, but it never was. He always found something. And so then, you know, he would start in on people. I got very good at, I learned how to disappear. So everybody handles it differently in the family. I was able to sort of just contract my energy, and he would look right past me and usually go after one of my brothers. But at night, he would sit in his chair drinking and smoking, and you know, we'd be in bed, and I would literally shake in my bed, like waiting for him to pass out. As soon as I heard him snoring, I knew it was safe and that we could fall asleep. As soon as he was snoring, he was passed out. He was done. But until then, anything could happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did the addiction affect the living situation?
I was actually sent to live with some grandparents that I didn't know at the age of 14 to Florida. So I was separated completely from my entire family. I didn't even know that I had a younger brother.
I was removed when I was 16 from our house and lived with my sister, who took care of me and my youngest brother.
So my husband and I took care of these two.
I was 12 at the
My
time.
brothers.
And then when Dylan was, how old were you when you ended up moving to
16.
Tennessee? And Dylan was 16 and I took care of him.
And then JR stayed with us.
And the reason why these two had to be separated is because Shannon was trying to raise them the way they should be, but our mother was controlling and interfering, so it was putting a lot of strain on her marriage, strain between the two of the boys, so they pretty much needed to be separated.
Yeah, we got a phone call from, I don't even know, like Children and Youth or somebody, that she was like overdosing in the apartment, and we went over there and they took her by ambulance to the hospital. And then they, you know, wanted to do drug testing and stuff on her, and told her that if she didn't do drug testing and like get clean, that she was gonna lose the boys. And she said that she didn't want to be drug tested, and she didn't care what happened. So Children and Youth stepped in and took them away.
Oh, I'm sure you've heard the roles of a scapegoat, the overachiever. For who were you in that situation?
I was the lost child. I disappeared. So most of the time it was intentional, though I didn't realize it at the time. It actually became an issue in my life, because I could do the same thing anytime I feel nervous or threatened. I just sort of contract. But my brother Bart was the scapegoat. Kurt was the scapegoat too. My dad went after them a lot, but because they got in my dad's face, you know, I learned to just shut up. And yeah, so I would think I was the lost child kind of thing. Yeah.
Did you ever try to confront like mom about it? Like take her anywhere? Like tell her like you have a problem? Maybe try putting her in rehab? Like anything like that?
So in the hospital, when they wanted to take the boys away, your Aunt Dana and Aunt Rihanna were there too. It was like a big, humongous intervention, like Tim, her husband at the time. And everybody begged her, and she just wanted no parts of anything. She didn't care. She was so manipulative and so good with how she was with words and controlling people, that she didn't care that she was going to lose the boys, and actually convinced our stepdad at the time, who didn't have a vehicle there, to call a taxi cab, and she signed herself out and left the hospital. So there was really she didn't think she had a problem. She thought we were all the problem. She thought, you know, that we were just a problem to her, but she didn't think she had a problem. Like she would say she has low blood sugar, that's why she's slurring. She didn't eat, that's why she's slurring.
Yeah.
She gets seizures, that's why she's slurring. Like, so she made a lot of excuses. And our stepdad made a lot of excuses for her.
Were you ever physically or emotionally abused?
Yes. Constant emotional abuse. Myself and all my siblings and my mom. There was always the threat of violence with my dad. It didn't happen nearly as often. The actual physical violence didn't happen as often as a lot of other families around us, but it did happen on occasion. But there was always the threat of it, so you always feared it happening. Like I say, I got really good at, figuring out how to avoid his rage. I also sort of became his right-hand man when he had things to do around the house. I always helped him, sort of my way of making him like me. In a way, it benefited me because I was very good at doing all those things. But, that's sort of what I did. Like I said, I tended to avoid fighting with my dad or getting into any physical altercations. I mean, he hit me a few times, beat me a couple of times, but as we got older, became teens, he started to do to us what his dad did to him, because he told us stories about his dad was a severe alcoholic. And he used to get into fist fights with his dad. When he got to be like in his late teens, like 16, 17, he started to get into fist fights and eventually got thrown out of the house by the cops. Because they were like, if this continues, somebody will die. And he started to do to us what his dad would do to him. He would call us out and want to fight with us. And, I didn't do it. I was like, one time he came at me in the kitchen and I ran past him, ducked his fist, ran out. He chased me into the living room and down the hallway. I don't know why I'm smiling, because it's sort of funny in a way, but he chased me into my bedroom, and there were like 3 beds in the bedroom, and I jumped on every bed, and he followed me around, and then I stopped in the middle of the hall, and I was like, stop. I put my hand out. I said, stop. I screamed down. I was like, can't you see that you're doing to me what your dad did to you? And it got him. Like, it shocked him. And then he put his hands down and he said, okay, and just walked past me. So I don't know what gave me the presence of mind to do that, but yeah.
Were you ever like physically or emotionally abused by like your mom in like any way? It doesn't have to be like physically.
Both, yeah. I was visually and emotionally and verbally. Yes. She was very mean and hateful person, and can say sorry. One of the worst things that you could ever tell a child. And it didn't matter if you told her that you were sorry or whatever, but she was just, her words were just so cruel and hurtful. My children have only met her one time because I didn't want kids to be around her.
I was kind of a different relationship, I guess, than my girls had. I was just complete neglect. I just didn't have any supervision or anything. I was just doing my own thing. As a kid, it sounded awesome, and it was kind of cool because I could just go do what I wanted. Didn't have to do my homework. Didn't have to worry about consequences for really anything, which I thought was cool at the time. But as an adult, it kind of like put me back a little bit with trying to figure out how to be more on top of my stuff. So.
For me, it was like both, because she was definitely verbally abusive, definitely mentally conniving, definitely. She was physical at times, but Jen got the brunt of the physical abuse, definitely. I mean, there was an episode where she just flew out of nowhere on the ground choking me in front of you. Yeah.
In front of me, that's like one
of
my earliest memories.
Like, she just would fly off the handle. Like, there was no like happy to psycho. It was like
it was
instant.
0 to 60.
Instant. Yeah, like I left home when I was 17 because of it. I came home and all my stuff was in the street, scattered. That's how crazy she was at times. So, but I have amazing memories too of her being a really loving person. And I think when she got older and I had you guys, she did try to sober up herself. But I know that Riley only met her like 5 or 6 times. You probably only met her like 4 or 5 times. And Emily only met her once.
I would only know.
Because she was just never sober. So. But I do have good memories too.
Yeah.
I mean, there are moments that I share with you guys all the time about her having like good moments, or just horseback riding, or just something that is like happy.
Just the last one. Are there any still like long-term effects that is carried with you today, like to this day?
Yeah. A lot less now because I've done a lot of work in my life. I've done a lot of therapy, and you know, I used to go to 12-step programs for adult children and alcoholics. I've, you know, read a lot, and I work a lot in my life to overcome some of what it caused. But is it still there? Yeah, sure. You know, there's stuff I don't think you ever get rid of. I still have certain fears, like my response to any sort of violence around me or rage is never appropriate. I think either I want to be violent back in a certain way that would not be good and hasn't been good in the past, or I disappear, like even at the hint of it. And if anybody close to me, like, you know, people I've been in a relationship are seem angry at me in any way, I take severe offense to it. It's like, I don't like anger. It hurts my feelings. Like, I feel like it means you don't love me or care about me. And so I will typically withdraw or pull back from that person, like just get quiet, and I sort of cut them off. I mean, I've ended relationships because, you know, I want people to be happy around me. I've had enough anger and enough violence. By the time I was 15, I had enough to last me 100 lifetimes. It's just not something I want. So, and lots of people get angry. We all get angry. I get angry. So, you know, it's a hindrance in a way. But I've learned to really talk through it. I think the solution is communication. And if I could give one piece of advice to anybody who's going through it, it's communication. I wish I would have communicated to my dad. I wish I would have told him when he was sober, like what he was doing to us and what he was doing to the family, and asked him to get help, and, you know, communicated to other people like therapists, like try to get help for us. But none of us did that. You know, my father drank himself to death. So, you know, there's a lot of still grief about that, right? That I didn't do enough. So I think communication, that's what I try to do with people in a relationship, like let them know when I'm feeling hurt, or, you know, I don't understand sometimes what they're doing or why they're doing it, because in my head I make it be like what my dad was doing. And so I'll just ask, communicate. So still affects me a little, but I've learned how to overcome it, I guess is my answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you still having effects of like being emotionally abused, physically abused, on like what happened, even though it was a while ago? And like, has any of that changed the way you've like treated people, brought up your kids, like anything like that?
It changes everything. Really, it changes everything about you.
Like I think we all have strived to be. Of course, Jared doesn't have any kids, but all of us, out of the 6 siblings, 5 of us have children, and I think we are pretty kick-ass parents. I mean, I think we really strive to be, like, I feel like we have strived to be awesome parents with our kids. We have really tried to, I think all of our children have known that there was addiction in the family. Of course, our father is an alcoholic as well. So I think just having that, and then us having to go through such the crap that we went through our childhood, we wanted to make sure our kids didn't go through anything like that.
And being honest, like I know that you 3 know a lot. So I've been very honest with
And my kids know too. They're very, you know, just because our mother was addicted to drugs and our father's addicted to alcohol doesn't mean that you have to follow that path. You have to choose yourself that you don't want to be like that, that you are better, that you want to strive and do better for yourself and to be able to provide for your family. So, I mean, people need to realize they can't use their mother and father as an excuse, because you can see us sitting here and
It would have been a lot easier just to go down the wrong path.
And I think we've helped each other. I mean, I'm sure Shannon has helped these boys from where she's raised along, and then when Dylan was with me, and, you know, we tried to help each other. And of course, whenever Dylan was living with me, I would always communicate with Shannon about what was going on, and she would keep me in the loop. I just think that helps if you can have the communication with your siblings and just, you know, be like, you can break the cycle. You don't have to follow the path of your parents.
And there were 6 of us. We all have families. We all have good jobs. We all are good human beings. Like, this really hasn't defined us. Like, we've all turned out really awesome. You know.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
You ready?
I'm ready. Are we being filmed?
Yes, we are.
Oh.
That camera right there.
So wait, are you gonna edit this then?
Yeah.
Are we ready?
And he's not.
And then Borg, he actually had Katie with us. Borg too. So yeah, Dad was a big drinker.
All right, we ready?